How are you doing? This is George with Truck Driver Nation. I want to definitely tell you parental discretion is advised with this one because I've got sinus problems. So if you see me coughing, sniffing, I'm not going to sit here and edit all this mess out. It's not to be mean, rude, but I'm not a computer geek. If you're looking for a computer geek that wants to be the little guru and the flashy signs, probably ain't going to be the fit for you because I'm here to explain something to you today that's going to be the factor that's going to make sure that you get a better understanding as a freight dispatcher on how professional dispatchers should look at freight. Okay. I'm going to give you each of the details and what we're going to be literally going over. Like we're going to look at the miles, the time, the daily revenue. You need to look at the fuel costs, the market conditions, the pickup and delivery scheduling, traffic and city conditions. And we'll go through them in a minute. I'm just giving you the main lead lines. Reload potential, detention risk, driver's hours of service or HOS, operational stress, equipment wear and tear, communication requirements, the profitability, the negotiation value, the risk versus the reward, the business sustainability, and the professional decision making. I told you I got a cold, but I need to get this done. I'd say that about a lot of them. I can't let this is just like being in a truck. Okay. It doesn't matter if I'm sick, I'm just looking sideways, or whatever it is, my freight has to be moved as a truck driver. And that kind of stuck with me. So even when I'm doing this, wham, because I got to keep it moving. And that's the whole principle, even with doing this. So if you're a student of mine, that's the same line I got to you. Wham. If you're not doing your job, learning this information, then you're not going to be anything. You'll still be sitting at that sucky job that you hate and complaining about it and want somebody to carry you to the finish line. This is the real life, the real world. Nobody gets you to the finish line except yourself. Okay. Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. Don't look for approval from people. You got to do this yourself. So if that's what you want, then you are dealing with the right person. So what we're looking at here, I put it in an image, and this, of course, is available also inside the website. But I'm gonna go do an explanation, and I do a lot of my course material this way. I get a full level schematic, so not just that you're getting one picture when you look at one part of the presentation, and then you get something totally different. You understand this because the video goes with this, but you still has this presentation. And I've learned that it's helped students to actually, oh, okay, I remember that. That's what we want. We want to become a routine. Routines are good. Routines like having a system. It's the same systematic process every single time that keeps you from screwing up. But obviously, what we're going to look at is the truth about load boards, okay? And when we're going over these, let me give you a short explanation of each one. So miles, this is going to be the total practical loaded miles and deadhead miles. Both miles, they both matter, okay? That being said, now when I say practical loaded miles, don't go by practical miles off the, they got household miles and then you got practical miles. And each one's a distance as far as the way they measure it. Some people go zip code to zip code. I'm going to be honest with you. I've looked at a lot of stuff and lots of things I've always wanted to mention. I do mention in my courses is one, why is it practical? Why is it zip code to zip code? Why is it household miles when it should be from address to address? Okay. I have never ever looked once at anything I've ever done in logistics and went from address to address and I made more money. I've always got shorted because it went from zip code to zip code. Some of these counties are extremely big and the zip codes cover a big area. So when you're doing this as a freight dispatcher, you need to stand up and defend that. And if you're an owner operator wanting to learn how to become a freight dispatcher, you know exactly what I'm talking about because you've experienced the same issue. So anyways, time, how many actual working days the truck will be tied up? That truck is money. That truck is a bill. It's due every month. So you need to calculate that in. Daily revenue target, the truck must hit a minimum daily operating goals to remain profitable. I'm slowing down a little bit in between so it lets it sink in because the human mind takes a minute for it to process. Fuel costs, fuel prices, the terrain, idle time, even if you got an EPU, APU, or a generator you're running off out of the fuel tank, idle time. And the regional fuel markets affect profitability. Just because the national fuel market says it's going to be this for the next day, even if it lags behind and it doesn't show up at the fuel pump, you still have to remember this, okay? Market conditions. We're looking at market conditions. We're talking about strong and weak markets directly affect load value, okay? Either which way. So you got to keep that in mind when you're actually dealing with this so you can understand exactly what is going on. So we're also looking at, I don't know if I missed one. I had to take a break there for a second. So we went over fuel costs, market conditions. Strong and weak freight markets directly affect the load value. And we'll go over that because, we're talking about, which areas you need to be in and which ones don't. If you don't, I do have another video that covers that. Pickup, delivery, scheduling, appointment times. You're talking about first come, first serve. Delays, time and pressure affect operations. Make sure that you're looking at this logistically. And all these are the factors that you have to deal with because, you want the truck to be profitable. And the main thing we're trying to do is understand why I'm asking. Every one of these is why you're asking to negotiate that rate. Okay. So what does my truck have to make? I want you to keep that in the back of your mind. The whole principle. What is my bottom dollar? What do I have to be profitable? If I can't be profitable, do it yourself. Okay. There ain't no reason I'm going to take somebody's load and I can't make the money we need to do. I'm not going to starve to death because of somebody else. You're in the United States. And yes, I'm not trying to rant, but I'm going to throw this in your ear because if I don't, y'all are not going to get it when I'm thinking of these things. People are going to always try to rationalize. Well, the market can only bear so much. If the market can't bear it, okay. Oh, automation's coming. I'm 55 years old. What do I care? Okay. I'm looking at what I have to do now to give myself a future. Whether I have to transition into another market or whatever, you better always never get yourself static in this life. You better be dynamic at all given points. I didn't start out as this, okay? I started out a little snot-nosed kid being on a farm, transitioned through the military, then did paramedic, then did nursing, ended up in logistics, was an owner-operator, and then transitioned in here. All changes, right? Okay, I've been in this the majority of the time in my career. But that being said, I don't care what the industry does. My truck has to make a profit today. If it ain't making a profit today, then why am I even doing this? Okay. So, anyways, traffic and city conditions. More people, more cars. You got to look at congestion, these toll booths, parking. Parking's a major concern. Urban deliveries. Can the truck even get in there? Know the quality of driver you have. Is he going to destroy it? And also that increases operational costs. Reload potential. What the truck can realistically reload with after delivery. What area did you put the truck in? Detention risk. Waiting time at shippers and receivers costs money and time. Every one of these I could get more depth. I'm going to try to keep moving because we got to stay on point. Driver hours of service, the available drive time, and on-duty time must be protected. Don't burn your hours up. You got so many hours in a week before you start getting reset times. Operational stress, the weather, the mountains, overnight driving, which is horrible. Some people love it. It ain't for me. I used to do it when I was get that extra rhythm going, but outside that, I couldn't do that on a constant basis. And broker demands increase the workload. Whatever these broker demands are, you make sure you adjust accountable because that means broker demands can work in your best interest because now they're in need. Equipment wear and tear. Cheap freight still causes maintenance, tire, and repair expenses. So you think when I take it to Peterbilt, they're going to give me a turbo for a lot cheaper just because I was taking cheaper freight? Communication requirements. Excessive tracking. I don't want that broker calling my driver every half an hour. Check calls. Paperwork increase the dispatcher workload. What are we talking about? Are you doing hazmat? Are you doing something that's going international, going up to Canada? Profitability. The goal is not just moving the truck. It is moving the truck profitable. You've got to be profitable. If your profitability ain't there, you don't have a business. You're literally surviving. then you're going to be in the same shape that you are now. You're in whatever industry you're in now. You're trying to transition over to what we do, and now you can't get there because your back's up against the wall, and people's like, I don't have money right now. When I got into this, I was transitioning out of doing the nursing thing into this, and when I did make that transition, I just threw it in the air, and I was like, you know what? Wherever they fall, they fall. I got to push forward, and so it ain't always the easiest thing to make these transitions, but you got to do it. Negotiation value. Post-it rates are starting points. Okay, that literally is what they are. Remember that rate's something totally different than what you're seeing on that low board. Not always the true market value. Just that's the spot market value today. Well, I don't know what that has to do with me. Okay, I'm not settling for what these people are chasing it for. If I can't consistently get what I need to adjust my strategy. If it's not the money not in the industry, my strategy is not right. Strategy, keyword. Risk versus reward. Even coming to take a program with me is risk versus reward, right? Every load should be evaluated based on operational risk compared to payout. So what's it going to take? Am I going way up into the mountains? Is it snowed out? Am I going to slide off the side of the mountain, jackknife my truck, everything compared to the payout? So all that's worth value. Let them run it themselves. You got 70-mile plus per hour per winds gusting across Twin Sisters or something up in Wyoming or whatever. Okay. Business sustainability, long-term success matters more than survival of one cheap load. Okay. And I see this happen all the time. One cheap load turns into a second cheap load, turns into a third cheap load. Okay. The brokers don't want to work with you. I'm not against brokers. I love being on the brokerage side. But if it doesn't work for your truck, if I'm the broker, let me know. If I really can't meet your needs, I know I'm looking at profitability when I'm sitting on that side of the fence, but you got to sustain your own self as well. It's either a workable relationship, a workable account, or it's not. Professional decision making. Professional dispatchers operate on numbers, not emotion. Okay. When we're saying numbers, not the number of loads, we're talking about the profitability. At the end of the day, I got to tell people, I don't care if we're selling acorns to squirrels that live in an acorn tree. If the profitability ain't there, we got to box everything up and get out of town. That's not going to work for us. If it is profitable, they like our acorns more. Maybe it's our presentation. Maybe it's our customer service. Whatever it is, then yeah, we'll stay there. We'll continue to do business, but we're not always going to just put all of our eggs in one basket. We're going to continually outreach here and there. You're not doing it all in one day, but you got to make it a consistent habit. Okay. You do the work, it will happen. Okay. So that being said, let's move here to this sheet here. Right here, this is going to be the sheet that you'll have. Like I said, this will be available. You'll see this in a video, but obviously it comes inside the course as well. So the truth about low boards. All right. Give me 1 second.